Matildas are in line to reap the benefits of this year's World Cup campaign. Football Australia confirming a new collective bargaining agreement which will see the tiered pay structure scrapped. Joining me live is former Socceroo Craig Foster. Craig, great to see you once again. I love talking the Matildas with you, particularly on this day. Is it as good as it seems?
Yeah, it is. It's a really great step forward, and congratulations to all the parties. You know, the PFA, which represents the players, and Football Australia for coming to the table and recognising. You see in all of their language that it is a partnership between athletes and the sports that they inhabit and that they sell and that they promote, and that they should be very much at the centre of, and that's reflected through this agreement. So. It's wonderful news to see that the what we call the share of player-generated revenue has also risen. So, you know, they're talking very much about a commercial partnership between, this is with the Socceroos and Matildas, but of course the big news here is the Matildas, that they will all be in position to earn between another 80 to 100,000 additional dollars a year, and rightly so. You know, they are Australia's darling national team, and it's fabulous to see.
Yeah, it certainly is. When it comes to, you know, better pay, that's certainly a great thing. But also we know that the competition is from big clubs overseas, you know, like Sam Kerr, like many of the players in the Matildas side. The dollar overseas is so much bigger. What do you think the solution here is to actually keeping some of these girls at home and being able to play like Courtney Vine?
It's a great question, because it's a really good problem to have. The reason is because our players are at the top level, and Real Madrid wants Hayley Raso, you know, and Chelsea wants Sam Kerr. And, you know, that has not always been the case. It was the case for our male players, particularly back in the 90s and early 2000s. It's no longer today. We're trying to rebuild that. So Australian footballers always have this really quite difficult puzzle to solve, Laura, in that most of the other competitions that it competes against in Australia have the best athletes here. All the Australians stay here, you know, whether it's AFL or most of the rugby league players or others. Ours is very different. We're playing a global game. You know, the biggest competitions are in Europe and elsewhere, and even now in the Middle East is sucking in a lot of talent with, you know, extraordinary expenditures. And so for us to be successful at national team level and also with domestic professional competitions, we need the best players in the world. So for us, it's fabulous that, you know, Sam Kerr is leading Chelsea, you know, scoring every week and is second in the Ballon d'Or at the same time that she comes back here to play for the Matildas in a home World Cup and thrills the world. So it's kind of a bit of a delicate balance that football has to navigate that most other sports in Australia don't have to.
Yeah, that's true. We spoke when the World Cup was on about the Matildas effect, and it was just so amazing. I think that glow, you know, it has diminished a little bit, but you'd expect that with the passage of time. But I feel like it is still there. As the A-League season gets underway, I think, you know, there's been a lot more interest in it. There's a lot of really young girls that were so captured by the Matildas. I mean, I've got a 6-year-old and she's still obsessed with them all. But, you know, does the A-League still go for... I just noticed there's, you know, 8:30 games on a Friday night, for example. So are they still going for the television audience, or is there a community element to that? You know, should there be more daytime games on the weekend? What is it?
Yeah, there's always a mix, you know, so you get some games on weekends a little bit earlier. It might be, you know, 5, 6 p.m. or whatever the case is. So again, because our professional leagues are played in our summer, when the kids all play, as you'll know with your daughter, you know, play predominantly through the winter months, then you know, there's a slight disconnect there. So the kids don't tend to be playing when we're in the A-League season, women and men. And so, therefore, it's open to them, you know, to be able to come to the games. But as you said, the memberships are up, you know, hugely. So I think it was some of the clubs, particularly with the women's A-League, are up 800% plus.
Wow.
You know, yeah, so that's just, and you know, you saw some of the first few games. I think it was Sydney FC women played to almost 12,000 crowd, which, you know, in any competition, you know, is a very strong crowd and was a record in our domestic professional women's game. So the news is good everywhere, but I think the message there's two messages I would have. Firstly is to all of our commercial and our biggest brands in the country, Laura, and that is like, where are the Matildas?
Yeah.
You know, they have the brands, CommBank and we know, and others, but You know, where is Mary Fowler? You know, where is Steph Catley? You know, where is Mackenzie Arnold? You know, we've seen some Sam Kerr, but even Sam tends to be on football-related commercial products. We should be seeing these extraordinary women on our TV screens 24 hours a day. Like they should be they are the most marketable athletes. Forget that, you know, it doesn't matter, women athletes, they are the most marketable athletes in the country. And the other message is that the game really needs to, you know, we've got over 1 million people playing and another 300,000 or so girls going to take up the game. And the message to all of them is you have to get into the stadia, you know. Over 100,000 tickets sold to just 3 games of the Matildas only last week in Perth. So
Amazing.
extraordinary.
Long may it continue. Absolutely.
Yeah, but we need them in the stadium for our domestic games as well, because that's where you see the next Sam Kerr.